you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers.
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, how we doing? Out there all across this great land of ours and around the world. It is once again that time for the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, we have a full docket for you today. Boy, you're going to have to put on your listening ears and really pay attention to what's happening. There is some things going on out there, and I don't know how fast it's going to hit, but boy, the tremors are mounting. They are growing in size and influence. And we're going to try to make some sense for you here because a lot of this stuff has just unfolded just in the last few hours. And we try to do that on this show. We try to stay on top of what's going on. But sometimes we have to walk through it just like you. The difference is, though, we'll walk through it. A lot of people won't do that. We're not a show that deals on headlines. So the headlines are often misleading. So we try to give you the context of what's actually being spoken out there. And for the purpose of educating, informing, and engaging you, our listening audience. So that's what we're going to try to do today. But we do have a full docket, some things left over from yesterday, and some things on the horizon. This could be a busy week, my friends. Going to be a very busy week. A lot going on in the political environment, a lot of paranoia on perhaps both the seen and unseen world of politics. And we're going to try to do our best to make some sense of it all and give you some substance, something you can use. So, having said that, let me bring on my good buddy here, Joe Hakos. How you doing today, Joe?
I'm relieved.
What's that?
I said I'm relieved.
Yeah, relieved. Why, were you constipated?
No. Where my wife happens to be gainfully employed, was in a lockdown situation, and they've got an all clear. So I feel very relieved now.
Okay. So we'll probably be getting some details on that somewhere down the line here as to what was going on. Kind of sent a little tremor of concern through us here because with the bombing over in Turkey today, and you just mentioned to me before the show, there's also an incident going on down in Denver, right?
Yeah, something's going on in Denver.
So, we could this could be one of those moments in time when maybe some things that all look like they're lone wolf operations maybe not be so lone wolf. Maybe there's, who knows? That's the problem we have today. We don't know. We don't know because our leadership in this country, the people that are supposed to know, don't know or don't want to know or know and don't want to tell us. And we're not really sure how that's working.
Quite obvious they're not keeping Americans safe. Yeah. I mean, for crying out loud, FBI had terrorists in San Bernardino on their radar. They had the guy in Orlando on the radar, and they just let them go and off the radar. And so, if anything, Hillary can say, yeah, I care about you, but I'm not gonna keep you safe. So you know what? The best thing to do is keep yourself safe.
Well, yeah, and in line with that, let me just mention something here that I just saw is kind of again, one of the things that's very hard for me to do in this show is to constantly berate people that might be listening to this show in terms of the lack of understanding about what's going on, either whether it's through denial or willful ignorance, or just being too busy to pay attention to what's going on.
I think it's the latter there, John. People are just too busy living their lives, and I get that. That's outstanding. That's what makes America great. We have these opportunities, we have that freedom, but sometimes these other things encroach upon that.
Yeah, and to continually try to just kind of look the other way, and not really gain understanding of the source, motivation, and potential outcome of things is really shooting yourself in the foot. It really is to be thinking that, okay, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, but I have to get up and go to work tomorrow, and the kids got soccer practice, and my wife's pissed off at me because I forgot her birthday and everything else. All the things that happen day in and day out in our lives, and we get so distracted by that we're not paying attention to what's going on. Meanwhile, the evil in the world just keeps advancing. And what we do is we find so many people waking up one morning or another, and all of a sudden going, hey, what's the deal?
How did that happen? Yes, exactly. How did that happen? How long has this been going on? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, your wife goes to work in the morning, and before she can get home, all of a sudden they're telling her, hey, we're locking the building down. What for? Well, we got a threat. What's that? That kind of. I'm not saying your wife's like that. I'm saying that I bet you there's a lot of people that were sitting there at the base today going, "What's this all about? What's this all about? Is the sky falling? That kind of thing."
Yeah, well, if you've ever been around, they're not going to tell you much. They're just going to make their little announcement, and then that's it. And then you're left to go, okay, what do you do? And that's where if you've been through any of these scenarios before, where that comes into play, and you do what you need to do. Yeah. The worst place to be, probably one of the worst places to ever be, is on a military installation right now. Yeah. Because it's a gun-free zone.
Or either that or a National Guard base, where you have guns but no ammunition.
Well, where do these things happen in gun-free zones? It's a fact, and I don't give a crap what these liberals think. They think, oh, you put some plastic stuff on a rifle and stuff, and now it's an assault weapon. And you ask them, well, what's an assault weapon? And they go, well, it's a gun that shoots very fast. And it's like, really? It shoots very fast? Yeah. And what else is it? And it's kind of like they have no idea what they are.
No.
And wow. And if you go, well, it shoots really fast. Well, that would be in the military. They have that. They don't have that in civilian. So, your little AR-15 is not for automatic rifle.
Yeah.
It's for.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I'm seeing a lot out here in California lately. It's something that is really, I'm just noticing it more and more, especially when we go to malls, is that the security guards are all armed now. And that's not something that I used to see a lot of. It was like, if you were in like a jewelry store or something like that, they might have an armed security guard. But now we're talking about just the Joe Schmo that walks around the compound out there, and they're all armed, and that gives me concern. Because I used to work in security, and I'm telling you, not everybody that works in security.
Hey, you know who else used to work in security?
Huh?
You know who else used to work in security?
No.
That freaking terrorist in Orlando.
Oh, yeah. The one that had a permit to conceal and carry. Yeah,
exactly. Sorry if I got a little crazy there.
Yeah, and I just, like I said, not everybody that works in security, the elevator doesn't always go all the way to the top floor. But, it's a job, and that's basically what it is. I remember the owners, one of the security companies I worked for, one night calling me up when I was on post and telling me that, we don't have a relief for you right now. We're trying to get somebody out there. And I'm like, I had a specific contract with you that I wouldn't be in this situation because I have other obligations. And I remember him calling up one of the other guys, one of the field supervisors, and he said, I don't care if anybody's in an oxygen tent, just get a breathing body out there. That's really how people look at security.
There you go.
But anyway, my point being is that with everything that's going on, I was going to comment to what Joe was saying here about the fact that we're not being told what's going on, we're not being protected, we're not even being informed. And I was looking at this one article today. The latest poll come out, another Washington Post poll comes out, and most of the people in this poll seem to believe that Hillary Clinton would be better in dealing with terrorism than Donald Trump.
Really? Ask the 4 dead guys in Benghazi about that.
Yeah, and so I am just, in light of the report that came out today and everything else, and I'm sitting there, are you guys really serious that you really, in spite of everything that we do know about Clinton, Obama, the sympathies towards Islamic radicalism, the integration of Muslim Brotherhood in the administration of Obama, which we're going to talk about a little bit later with Don Dix.
And heavily with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, and you would still be more comfortable having somebody like Hillary Clinton leading or acting as a commander-in-chief than somebody like Donald Trump, who says, yeah, we just bowl the hell out of everybody that screws with us. I think in my point of view is I'd rather have somebody that, is willing to push the button. They keep talking about pushing the button. Oh, who cares if Hillary Clinton's got the codes if she never uses them? That's irrelevant. We'll give you the gun, but you never put bullets in it. Who cares what's going on here? But that's what the poll was saying today. Is that I believe it was like 55% of the people polled believe that Hillary Clinton is more equipped to deal with terrorism than Donald Trump.
They have no idea what national security is. They haven't got a clue. Well,
especially when you have 86% of the people in the same poll telling us that they would prefer that people on the no-fly list not be able to purchase weapons. And I just get to this, that leads back to one thing we've been talking about over and over again. People don't even know what the no-fly list is. They don't know how easy it is to get on it and how hard it is to get off. I mean, this is like IRS. I've known people that in the past wanted to get even with somebody, call up the IRS and say, oh, yeah, my buddy over here hasn't paid his taxes last year, or I know he's sneaking or he's lying, and completely ruin somebody's life, because once you get on an IRS watch list, it's next to impossible to get off, and mainly for the main reason you can't find IRS agents half the time. They out here in California, believe it or not, they move their location every 6 months because they don't want people to know where they're at, because obviously they piss off a lot of people. So
sounds like the mob.
Yeah, anyway. Hey, we got to go to break. When we come back, we'll have Audrey Russo with us. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday, talking about 3 of the 10 first 10 Bill of Rights, amendments on the Bill of Rights, and how the Democrats are shaping and coming after these amendments, and of course going to be using it to basically put together their platform when they meet. I believe it's in July. Is it in July they meet?
Yeah, next month. Actually, they're forming up their platform right now.
Yeah. They're getting ready to put it out there right now. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hickos, and we've got with us Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio. And we want to start off, Joe and I were talking yesterday, Audrey. We want to know if you walked the red carpet down at the gay parade and picked up any fashion tips for us.
Why would I do that? I could probably instruct some of those guys. No, actually, I was in Midtown watching a premiere of the documentary Clinton Cash.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is. This is got to be this woman is incredible. She has to be mentally detached from reality right now.
Well, you know, I was listening to the Secret Service agent was on Hannity last night. The guy that wrote the book, Crisis. I don't know what the name of the book was, but I was listening. I listened to about 10 minutes of the interview with him, and from how he describes this woman and the things that he saw while he was serving during the Clinton administration, this woman shows all the signs of being bipolar. It was the way he was talking about her ability to turn on and off her emotions. He said, 1 minute she'll be just screaming and yelling and berating people and all this, and then all of a sudden he said the cameras light up and she's smiling and he says, and then as soon as the cameras are off, she's right back the way she was. I just say, yeah, that sure sounds like somebody that doesn't have the elevator going all the way to the top floor.
I think she's schizophrenic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't want to give her the excuse of being evil in this case. I don't want to give her the excuse of being sick. I think she's evil. But really, you know that liberalism is a mental illness. You know that, right? I mean, Dr. Lyle Rossiter. Have you ever read that book? The Liberal Minds, the psychological causes of political madness. And I want to read you a quote Modern liberalism's irrationality can only be understood as the product of psychopathology. So extravagant are the patterns of thinking, emoting, behaving, and relating that characterize the liberal mind that its relentless protests and demands become understandable only as disorders of the psyche.
Wow. Yeah, well, that describes like the entire administration that's in office right now.
Yepers.
I never really paid much attention to narcissism until Barack Obama came into power. It was something that, everybody kind of knows, okay, the world centers around me, in fact, my wife bought me a T-shirt once, and it has this guy in front of a blackboard with, like this Einstein kind of formula, and it says scientifically proven the world does revolve around me. And so we kind of joke about that kind of stuff. But when you have somebody like a Barack Obama and a Hillary Clinton and people like that are associated with them that can literally get in front of a camera and just present themselves any way they choose to and do it so convincingly that even those of us who know sometimes wonder, is there something wrong with me?
No, it's them.
Am I really the one that's missing this whole thing? I mean, it's just phenomenal, and yet here we are, 5 months away from an election that is going to determine the course of our republic, and we have a candidate that still has a high enough popularity rating that she might win. And I don't know, maybe the country has gone schizophrenic.
Yeah, well, we have issues in this country. But no, I'm telling you, there are people that are Democrat that have said to me that they are going to, they are Democrat, and some of them are even liberal, but they cannot stomach her. And to their friends, they'll say, yeah, Hillary, but they're not going to vote for her. They're going to vote for Trump.
Yeah, see, this. Let me get into this just a moment here with you before we get into our topic here, because Joe and I have been bouncing this around back and forth here on the show for quite a while now. The Brexit vote, I think, if anything, proved once again, it's solidified in my mind that there are no such thing as experts anymore. These people get out there. I mean, ever since the 2012 election, I go back to people like Dick Morrison and Karl Rove, who, Mitt Romney was going to win this thing. The only
losers. They pick losers.
Yeah. They were going to, the only state Obama was going to take was Illinois and maybe Hawaii, and Romney was going to walk away with this thing. And they're still sitting around, and people are still going to them for advice and consultation.
So who's the foolish one? Who's the loser now? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah. So I, sometimes that's kind of what has steered me away from Fox News as being considered any real credible source here, because they're still calling on these people. I mean, where was it decided someplace? Hey, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Lindsey Graham ran for president, gets an asterisk after his name in terms of popularity, and we still ask him what's relevant. Or Karl Rove. Somebody should be taking that blackboard of his and beating him over the head with it by now.
Yeah, exactly. They make friends. They have friends there, so they'll just keep using them. It's political within. That's with, of course, any news agency, but of course Fox is not. They're not as fair and balanced as they used to be, but they are about as fair and balanced as you're going to get.
I guess, and that isn't saying a whole lot these days.
I like the Fox Business better. That covers the issues.
Yeah, you say that because the bombing in Istanbul, the airport there. So Fox is on, and they absolutely jack squat. They know jack squat, but they break in, and it's all they do is they talk about the same thing over and over again. They absolutely know nothing about it.
Right.
But there's other things happening in the world today, but yet they'd rather go and sensationalize the terrorist bombing in the Istanbul airport, which they have already broadcast every known fact that they have in the first 5 minutes of the hour. But let's keep on doing it for the rest of the hour, too.
Yeah. Sure, and get a bunch of so-called experts on, sometimes they are, to just reiterate what they just said.
Yeah.
So. And
so
it sounds more official.
And I wonder how far down the line here, maybe by this time tomorrow, we'll start hearing all the reports about how the FBI and the CIA and all the intelligence sources had information on these bombers, but couldn't do anything with it. It'll be the same thing over and over again. It's like the Benghazi report comes out today. Okay, no news, nothing groundbreaking.
Did you see the press conference?
No, I haven't. No, I didn't. I didn't catch it.
Excellent, amazing.
Yeah. And my point being is that so they'll spend the rest of the week rehashing this thing about a report that we just spent 2 years and millions of dollars that doesn't want to state the obvious because nobody wants to be called a racist. And that's really what the bottom line is. Nobody's going to come out and accuse Hillary of being a dereliction of duty because that'll be sexist. Nobody's going to come out and blame Barack Obama for wanting to shut this thing down because it was re-election year, because that'd be racist. And so these things, we've determined the main problem is that the administration didn't want to hurt Libya's feelings.
Right.
I'm like, give me a break. You know,
we're so concerned about the Libyan government, how they might be hurt. Meanwhile, you already knew what the attitude from Obama and from Hillary about our military is, and our military is not stupid. They know what they thought of them.
Yeah.
But with what such regard?
Yeah. Well, let's get into our discussion here. We got about 5 minutes here before we go to break here, and I want to get this open. When Joe and I were floating this out here last night, that what's happening is the Democrats are getting ready to present their platform, and we pretty much have figured out that the First, Second, and Fifth Amendments are going to be the main targets. Now that they eliminated God in 2012, so now they're going to come after they're going to come after free speech, they're going to come after the gun rights, and of course they're going to come after our due process, and all these things tie together. When you talk about free speech, Joe was just showing me yesterday. Well, you got censored on Facebook because somebody posted a picture of an AR-15 from a magazine published 40 years ago.
It had to be. If you looked at the price of the weapon, was like under $200.
Yeah, and it looked like the page itself has aged. It's that old brownish color that paper gets after it's been laying around in your garage for 10 years or whatever. And so all these things are tying together here. Where exactly? You remember where exactly we left off here, Joe? We were talking about the fifth. I think we started with the fifth about the due process.
Yeah, which would be the due process and everything. And you got Joe Manchin out there, the wonderful senator from West Virginia that decided to try to get elected by shooting a rifle through a telephone book or something, if I remember right. And so, it proves that his street cred that he's all for the Second Amendment. So he's out there saying, what's hurting us right now is due process.
Right. So what I wanted to get was your opinion, Audrey, on this, because this right now, the way they're coming at this is, of course, through the no-fly list and the terrorist watch list. And so it ties in with gun control. But the point being is that the only resistance we're getting from the Republican Party, of course, is the fact these people can be put on no-fly lists or terrorist watch lists without their knowledge, without any due process, without any real evidence. I mean, I've looked at some of the rules, and it's just if somebody suspects them of something, you can get slapped on this list. And, of course, apparently, if you really are a terrorist, you get released after a while.
Yeah, or if you happen to be an illegal that's committed a crime, they'll release you as well, without even... this is the MO right now for this administration, and exactly. They it's extremely we're extremely vulnerable with well, thank God we only have a wee bit of time left in this administration, but I've never seen. Look, we have to look at these people like children. That's what they are, and they're very dangerous children. Okay, because what they're doing is playing around with policy and the Constitution, and they're endangering lives. They're putting people in peril. It's not like children in the kindergarten class, where you have to just worry about them, stealing cookies and milk. What they are doing is extremely dangerous, and it has to do with our free speech rights. Now, what do you think if it was a list where I tell you, I would just love somebody to put one of the liberals on that list.
Well, actually, I think
on purpose.
Ted Kennedy was actually on it at one time, believe it or not.
Well, we don't have to worry about whether he's going to be able to buy a gun. He's dead. But it's frightening to think that these people would be shrieking like banshees if you would try to even verbally touch their due process. Well, they're the first ones to jump to the defense of a criminal, and we're talking about a repeat offender. Let's look again. They're the people of the root causes. Who stole his lollipop when he was 3 years old. These are the people of root causes, of course, unless it happens to be somebody that's on their side, or someone they're protecting, or someone that is their latest victim, which is a Muslim. Then, in Orlando, they didn't even care. They were not interested. They went right for whatever he used rather than but this is, they don't like us if we haven't figured that out yet. Yeah. And they are going to try to stop us and shut us up. The first thing they do is try to shut us up.
Yeah. I've got to interrupt you, Audrey. We got to go to break here. Hold that thought here, because you're on to something here. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We've got Audrey Russo doing her weekly segment with us from Real Talk Radio. We'll be right back.
Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, safety, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, and bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474, 866-657-8474.
All right, hey, we are back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives, and I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. We've got Audrey Russo doing her weekly contribution to our show here from Real Talk Radio. And Audrey, I want to, I was saying at the beginning of the show, one of the hardest things to do in this show is to address people that are actually listening to us and telling them basically, you really don't know what's going on. I call it the Gruber theorem, the stupidity of the American voter. And what's happening here is we're talking about due process here, in particular, the sit-in in Congress earlier in the week or last week, at the end of last week, which completely wanted to override the system of process in the Congress. And basically, we want to vote, and we're going to sit here and hold our breath until we turn blue, and the kind of thing. But, how do you do that when you're already blue bleeding? But anyway, that's another discussion for another day. Anyway, this poll that just came out, this ABC Washington Post poll, shows the contradiction or the lack of understanding of the issue of the American public. 59% to 25% believe that Hillary Clinton had a better response to the Orlando shooting than Donald Trump. Confidence in her ability to handle situations like this, 53% to 34%. 53% thought she was better equipped than Donald Trump. The better job response overall, which this really boggles my mind, 46% Hillary Clinton, 28% Donald Trump. And best proposals to prevent more attacks, they believe Hillary Clinton at 44%, Donald Trump at 35%. Now, here's the point. You look at some of the other polls here, or some of the other questions in this poll, and what they're concerned about is that there should be more people carrying guns. 54% of the country says they should be carrying guns. 42% says less should be carrying guns. This is right after they just sit here and condoned and believe that Hillary Clinton is better equipped to deal with the issue. The woman who wants to do away with the Second Amendment. Yeah. What's your take on this?
Well, look, first of all, it's really not fair to pull people in the psych wards of hospitals. It really isn't. So that's why it doesn't make sense. What they're revealing is how woefully ignorant, and it's not because God created them without brains, although sometimes we wonder. It's because they're intellectually lazy. They know more of what's going on in social media than, and I'm talking about adults too, I'm not talking about kids, They know more about that. They know more about what's going on in entertainment than they do. They don't. They probably haven't even heard Hillary. They just heard her name more than Trump's when it comes to politics. That's it. They haven't even bothered to pay attention. So these polls are really meaningless. They really are. I mean, those, especially. I'll tell you what's ridiculous. When people are afraid of, when they're concerned about national security, they don't choose Democrats. They never do. As a rule, they don't. They know that Democrats don't know anything, and it's clear. Just ask those in Benghazi. They know nothing about national security. Look at the position we're in now. That is because a Democrat did this. So the vote in that sense, any other attacks that happen on I hope it doesn't. I hope no others happen. But if more happen even before the election, that's going to help Trump. It's not going to help Hillary. It doesn't matter what she responds. And anyway, after that report, I don't know if the two of you have seen it, have looked at it on Benghazi, it's very damning to her. And they didn't pick her out. They're just laying out the facts.
Well, the problem, I haven't looked at the report right now because I just looked. I just basically, because of the time involved today, getting prepped for the show, I just kind of did the speed read on some of the stuff, and I was kind of livid that there wasn't more emphasis made by the Benghazi committee as to the dereliction of duty. It didn't seem to me that, now I might be wrong on that, maybe I just have to dig into it deeper, but it doesn't seem like there's really anything that comes out and says, hey, you know what, this woman, this is criminal what she did, and it's criminal what Obama did, because I believe treason would definitely be something that should have come out of this thing. But
I don't think they could have, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't think they could make those conclusions, and I don't think it would be wise for them to make those conclusions in there. That's up to us. Yeah. That's up to they were just supposed to find out the facts and lay them out, because if they did, give their own assessments in there, they did give their assessments at the press conference, that they were free to do that, but in the report itself they didn't do that, and it was wise to do that because the left would have immediately said, see, this is you did this because she's running for president. Yeah, I get you there. That's a valid point here. But getting back to this due process thing here, here I want you to grasp the contradictions here. Support measures for responding to Orlando. This is what the question is about, and it says support various policy positions. Okay, as I said, 51% of the country is saying they would favor assault weapons bans. All right, now of course that in and of itself is ignorance, because most of these people don't even know what an assault weapon is. They think anything that fires one bullet at a time is an assault weapon. But they believe that 54% more people should be carrying guns. They believe 72% that there should be an increase in surveillance of suspected terrorists, even if it violates people's rights. And 86% believe that they should block terror suspects from buying guns. Now, the idea being here that obviously these people being polled don't understand what a watch list or a no-fly list consists of, and how a person gets on it. So the general attitude of Americans that I'm getting at here is that do it to somebody else, but I wouldn't be involved in this. Say the government, I have nothing to hide. The government couldn't do anything to me. Whereas all you've got to do is be somebody like me and post something on Facebook that pisses somebody off, and you get reported. You do something on Facebook that somebody doesn't like, and what do they report you to the Facebook police? I put something out there on my social media out there that says, somebody's an idiot or something like that. Yeah. And next thing I know, I find out, I go down to the airport to fly out on my next vacation and find out I can't go anywhere. Right. Yeah, they're vague for a reason. They know exactly what they're doing. People, when you say terrorists, they think of ISIS, they think of Al-Qaeda, they think of somebody with a Quran under their arm with a fuse sticking out of it. This is what they think of. What the left thinks of, they let us know in that DHS report, if we recall, where they see Tea Party people as terrorists. They see potential terrorists. They see veterans as potential terrorists. This is gun owners as potential terrorists. This is we have to be very specific here, and they won't be specific because, remember, Islam has nothing to do with this, in their opinion. So they will not be, and they're doing it intentionally because they want to make sure that happens to you or I. If we go, they'll put us on the list. It'll be very difficult. It'll follow us everywhere, and they will forget about our due process. Because remember, after all, even when they're wrong, they're right, and even when we're right, we're wrong. That's how they see things.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, for instance, so I shared a photo the other day that somebody posted out on Facebook of a Bernie Sanders supporter, college kid. She looked like early 20-somethings. She's wearing the shirt, Feel the Burn. And she's got her cell phone in front of her, and she's got a Glock 40 to her head. And what it says, basically, I guess she was like, oh, Bernie isn't going to win, so I'm going to kill myself. Okay, so I'm like, and then somebody had posted and put underneath it, yeah, go ahead, pull the trigger. So I wasn't real keen on the comment that was made, but I thought the picture was very telling. And it was something, the caption was something like, this is what happens when a Bernie Sanders supporter finds out they have to pay for their own college. And so but I'm thinking, after I posted it, right. I went, why isn't somebody coming after this Bernie Sanders supporter for posting a picture of a gun on Facebook when they went after Joe for somebody posting an advertisement for an AR-15 back in 1950?
Yeah. I think that there are people that are looking around, scouting around on Facebook that are on the left, and they'll report you. Once they report you, they have to look at it. They might suspend your account for a while. That's what they're doing. The right doesn't. People on the right don't do that. They're not looking to report them. But it would be pretty dubious if they did. I don't think that they would remove it, and that's because most of them are on the left. Yeah. We know that. That's been revealed.
Yeah, now we got to go to a break. When we come back, I want you to think about this during the break, Audrey, and I'll get your take on this. I think what's happening here as far as the due process and the free speech, let's go to the First Amendment here, is that the left wants anything that even hints of disagreement and opposition to be labeled as hate speech. And one of the things that took place out here in Sacramento over the weekend, a white supremacist rally of about 6 or 7 guys showed up. They were mobbed by over 100 different people, all groups represented from the left. So we'll talk about that when we get back here. We've got Audrey Russo from Real Talk Radio with us. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are back Hey, we want to remind you, take a moment, either today, tomorrow, the weekend, whenever you get a chance, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. You can pick up the archive of this show, any of our shows, and find out about our panel members, who they are, what they do on their own. They're all out there in the trenches, and it's just a good place to get filled up on information. We have all kinds of stuff there. Theconservativesyndicate.net. We've got Audrey Russo with us doing her weekly segment from Real Talk Radio. And Audrey, what I want to get your take on this. I see this movement out here that's going on. It's just kind of like an expansion on the entire Occupy Wall Street thing, and that is in the sense that apparently there's some very good organizing going on out there. That anytime anything on the right even rears its ugly head, as the left would look at it, that they have the ability to mobilize a noticeable amount of people to counter, to immediately be out there. In some cases, we see the professional pre-printed signs. I mean, how do you get those things in 24 hours? You can't. I've tried to do. I used to print. I know you can't do that. So this is stuff that's being prepared well in advance, and then just activated. And the example I was giving was over the weekend. There was a white supremacist rally up in Sacramento in the Capitol, and it never got off the ground. I think there was like 7 or 8 of these people showed up to set up their rally, and they were met by well over, from what I could see in the video, well over 200 people. From different various leftist organizations. They had the Che Guevara flags out there, the lesbian flags.
So stupid.
The Obama. I mean, they were there, and they confronted these people. They were assaulted. 7 of them were stabbed. There was a whole bunch of stuff that went on.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yeah. I mean, no charges filed against anybody.
Of course not.
No, and it was just the way it goes out here in California right now. We've seen it at Trump rallies out here. The La Raza people show up, and people are being assaulted as they try to go in and out of the rallies and stuff like that. Nothing's being done about that. And so what it is their argument is that white supremacist groups and Donald Trump and et cetera, those of us who cling to our guns and our religion, we're just racist, haters, homophobes, and there's no room for hate. It's get rid of the haters, and we're the haters. And it seems to me
they're the haters. Yeah. Right.
So it seems to me this is definitely going to be one of their planks come the convention time up here. I wanted to get your take on this. How do you think this is really going to? How's this really going to work out come election time?
Look, people are getting tired of this. They know that these are paid protests, and they're well organized, because remember, rules for radicals. I mean, it tells you what to do, and that's what they do. They protest, and one thing we cannot do is cave to their slander. Calling racist La Raza is a racist organization.
Right.
It is. There should not even be that shouldn't be respected, and yet it is respected, of course, by the left. Mm-hmm. But and that judge, by the way, that Trump brought up, he's part of La Raza. Just in case you didn't know, people are getting tired of it, and because what they include in that is just about the majority of center right people in this country, which is the majority, and they're getting tired of it, and they can't go into the voting booth, with you. No, it's the racist thing is not. They're trying to attach it to him, but it's not working. It's not working because the numbers and more people, and Democrats want to vote for him because they don't feel, bottom line right now, they don't feel safe.
And this takes me to the question I really wanted to shoot at you in the beginning of our conversation today. Everything that's out there right now, the media is doing their best to spin everything to make it look like, Trump has got a snowflake's chance in hell of winning. But I think this Brexit vote, along with some of the other things like you were just saying, the American public they're getting tired and weary of everything being questioned and everything being labeled as anti-American, when in fact everything that they represent is anti-American. And I think this is going to backfire. I'm beginning to think that Trump is not only going to win this election, he's going to win it big time.
He's going to, I believe, and my producer, Mr. P, has said the same thing. that he is going to win with numbers never seen before, because people are fed up, as our cousins across the pond are. They got fed up, and the left over there was going apoplectic. Mm-hmm. They were the media, BBC, and were in mourning. I mean, because they of course they're the elite, and that's what they think of us over here. I'm sorry to say, but the peasants will win.
Yeah,
just so you know,
we were just comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
We were just commenting yesterday that I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Audrey.
No, you're not interrupting me. It's some kind of problem with the transmission, is what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, we were just talking yesterday that what's coming out here is a squeaky wheel. Oh wow, we're getting an echo. That's what's happening. We're getting an echo out here. That's strange.
Bad echo.
I'm interrupting myself. That's what's going on here. Okay, maybe what we need to do, we need to close. Well, we're almost out of time anyway. So go ahead, Audrey. Tell us what's going on with your show this week.
Okay, we're going to cross the pond. For two of the guests, my friend Mona Walter in Sweden will be with us, and George Igler. We're going to talk about the Brexit from the UK. He's part of he's the head of the Discourse Institute there, for free speech. And it's Miha Danzig, who is actually the head of the legal panel at Stand With Us for Israel, to talk about anti-Semitism on the rise in college campuses.
All right, my dear. I thank you so much for taking the time here. I'm sorry about the tech glitch here. I don't know what happened there for a minute.
Well, it's okay. It's Audrey. I want you to find out, Audrey. And we were just you're talking about the leftover in Europe being apoplectic. They're not going to go away. I think they're going to use the heavy hand to try to get people in line. So check it out with your guest this week.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it's going to work. The people are fed up.
Yeah,
they really are.
I get that. I think it's going to turn ugly.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly before it gets pretty. That's for sure.
It's usually how it works, right?
All right, my dear. Thank you so much. And, have a good show, and you guys remember, pick her up out there on AudreyRusso.com, and we'll have you back on again next week and do it all over again, Audrey.
Thanks so much, guys. Have a great week.
All right, you too. God bless you. All right.
Thanks. God bless.
Okay, guys. Boy, I don't know what happened there. Where did that glitch come from?
No, John. The electrons were doing whatever. The ones and zeros all got crazy there. They started doubling up on each other. So, there's an echo. And so it's just nuts there for a little bit.
I've never had an echo problem on this side. And it just blew me away. I thought... the way it was processing here, it just sounded. I thought we were just over talking each other.
No, it was you were saying everything twice.
Yeah, wow, that's strange. It
was weird. Okay,
well, I just hope she didn't turn on a speaker or something. Maybe that's.
I don't know, but all I can say is, for your beginning comment to this segment, which was go to our website and look at our archives and whatever else we want to do at the conservativesyndicate.net. I want you to do it now.
Yeah, do it now. And, just to kind of sum this up at this portion here, because we got Don Dix coming on with this next hour, and our topic is going to be completely different. In some ways similar, but very different in terms of context and what's going on in the Obama administration, something that very few people are even talking about, and that is the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood into the Obama administration. It's been going on for at least really hardcore the last 3-4 years, since his second term.
Wow, definitely. It's been there all along. It was definitely influenced in the State Department.
Right.
Hillary was there. So, yes, absolutely. And I think people should be interested. And interestingly enough, Huma was given testimony.
Yeah. So we're going to discuss that in the next hour, and we'll see where that takes us. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Right now it's time for the Edwards Notebook. We'll pay a couple bills. We'll be right back.
Some people say that it's all over for America, while others, like me, believe the best is yet to come. What say you? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, we all can recite the myriad of setbacks that currently beset our remarkable republic. The Obama administration has seriously damaged every major pillar of society. Stagnation dominates the economy, and bad morale permeates the military. Government school education is now worse than ever before, and that's just for starters. The giants of destruction of America seem to be everywhere, including the thousands of terrorists roaming our streets, looking to kill, steal, and destroy. But you know what? The bigger the giants are, the harder they fall. The Bible says the power of life and death are in the tongue. In ancient Israel, 10 men were sent out to spy out the land to report on the odds of the children of Israel taking the promised land for themselves. 8 said it's impossible, but 2 said we can take the giants and the land. America, the choice is ours, to either fold up in defeat or stand and believe that it's not over for our republic. Yes, we as a nation have stumbled, but I believe we the people, through providential guidance, will soon reignite the torch of liberty and fulfill our God-ordained manifest destiny of greatness. I'm Ron Edwards.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment, and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
It's a latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
All right. Hey, we're back. Hour 2 right here at the Conservative Syndicate, and I am your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And, getting into Hour 2 here. I'm just flabbergasted.
Really?
Flabbergasted at some of the things that are going on. And the Benghazi report, the Brexit, all this stuff is just... I think some of it's good. I mean, obviously, like Brexit and stuff like that's good. It's just flabbergasted that those who are trying to destroy not only this country but the world are just they're just so capable of just continuing to do what they want, virtually unopposed right now. That I just get so flabbergasted and frustrated with people. I think Audrey hit it when she was on with us last hour, that people are just getting tired, and that's the whole strategy. It's just to wear you down, get you to the point where you just throw your hands up and go, out of the hell with it, and then they just do whatever they want, and then at some point in time you don't have any options anymore. You don't have any choices. You don't have any avenues that you can go down to protect you and your family. Everybody's out there trying to do the right thing, but at some point in time, if we don't come together and do the right thing collectively and stop this, all our efforts to do the right thing are going to be irrelevant. We're not going to be able to do anything, So, anyway.
Well, that's their goal. Their goal has always been to divide and conquer. And so, when he wanted to fundamentally transform our nation, that was part of it, was he wanted to divide everybody. Well, look what he done. Everything's all about race anymore. Everything's race. Ice cream's race.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. You can't even recycle plastic cups without it being race anymore.
Yeah. Well, and we're even seeing it take shape over in Europe. The move here, listen to Obama's remarks about this. There's this populist movement, that kind of thing, okay? And it's all based on xenophobia and fear of immigration and everything. So he's playing the race card over there. This is what caused Brexit, is xenophobia and racism, okay? And that's what the cause of it is. So it just continues and it escalates, because it works. It's been working, and so they just keep at it until somebody makes the effort and does something to stop it. And
what do people fear? Oh, I'm afraid. Don't call me that. They're so afraid of being called something. Look, either if you're not what they call you, then why are you afraid of it?
Yeah. People can call me anything they want. I've been on the radio now for going on 9 years. I've been called every combination of everything that can be put out there. And, who cares? If I know who I am and you know who you are, then what are you worried about what somebody else thinks? Especially when most of the insults that come at me are people that have known me for all of 15 seconds because they read something I posted on social media. Okay? So they know me. They don't
know you, Mad Prophet. Not at all.
Many of them don't understand that a lot of times I post stuff out on social media just for the purpose of provoking. I may or may not hold the views that I'm posting. I just put it out there. Who can I piss off? Yeah, I like provoking. I like confrontation. It makes the dialogue worth having. That kind of thing. So
it initiates a dialogue, which is a good thing, because once you start having somebody talk about something, you might actually get them to think about what they're actually saying.
Yeah.
Actual intelligent people might think about what they're saying. Other people are just prove their ignorance.
Yeah, well, I can't deny that there have been people I've talked to that have been able to change my views on things because they present it to me in a way and I go, I hadn't thought about that. That's what dialogue does, real dialogue. The name calling and stuff, no, yeah, I get that. Although I'm probably as guilty of that as anybody else. I love calling idiots idiots because they're too idiotic to know the difference.
Well, sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, look, we got just a few minutes here before we go to commercial here, but we got Don Dix standing by here. Don, are you there? Are you there, Don?
I am.
Okay. We wanted real quick sound check here and make sure that you're with us here because I had a little problem getting you on today. For some reason, Skype didn't want to let you in right away. So anyway, good. We'll have you there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and run our commercials. And we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll have Don Dix from Act for America. We're going to talk about the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Obama administration, somebody that nobody wants to talk about because, as we just said, it makes you a racist, it makes you a hater. But doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. I like the truth, and I don't care what color it comes in. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Right now, it's time for Moments of Madness. Today on Moments of Madness. Globalist elites and the media lapdogs that shore up their ranks woke up this past Friday morning and in more than a few cases surprisingly found themselves forced to deal with immediate as well as possible long-term damage to their reputations and bank accounts ravaged by the electoral storm named Brexit that hit Europe the night before. While a few proponents of the New World Order downplayed to the public the UK's exit from the EU as nothing more than a tremor brought about by a disgruntled workforce not feeling the utopian aura wealth redistribution promises but never delivers, there is much to indicate the UK's decision is the beginning of the perfect storm, one that may actually generate an ideological tsunami that could reshape the geopolitical landscape to a degree not felt since the fall of the Berlin Wall and the Soviet Union. This tsunami could possibly not only reach the shores of their neighboring European counterparts, but around the globe as far as North America, Asia, and even below the equator. The bloc that makes up the United Kingdom, Britain, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, while divided nationally with Scotland and Northern Ireland favoring to remain in the EU, while Britain and Wales choosing to leave, together ended up posting a 52% majority that rejected the paradigm of globalism as an effective and preferred form of government. This indictment of collective ideologies that feed the egos and ledgers of power-hungry elitists becomes even more damning when we view the outcome was achieved in spite of massive campaign spending by EU members, trade threats rendered by world leaders like Barack Obama, and prophecies of financial doom by billionaire hedge fund managers like George Soros and Warren Buffett. The stability of the sterling pound appears not to have been the concern of the British people, but rather an instinctive understanding their very existence as a nation and people is at risk of being decimated by uncontrolled immigration. It's as if they are channeling the spirit of another rebel, that being Benjamin Franklin, who warned over 240 years ago, they who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safe deserve neither liberty nor safety. Rather than cave to the fear-mongering that has for too long been effective in keeping the masses in line, the common theme we can take from this is enough is enough. Throw the bums out. Here's the madness. Like the graffiti etched into the clay walls of imploding Rome or painted on the Berlin Wall in plain sight for all to see, ideological collectivism touted in any form, regardless of perceptions of good intent conveyed by its proponents and planners, will only be tolerated by those subjected to it until such time as it can be obliterated by the very people it enslaves. Yet those who hold dogmatically to various hybrids of communism continue to perpetuate the deception that to surrender one's individuality and the rights inherent to such stature in favor of joining the ranks of true believers is the only true means by which universal peace and socio-economic order can be sustained, in spite of all historical evidence to the contrary. Is it willful ignorance of the obvious, or an undeterred determination to do what's right? I think not. It's because deception serves as a means to an end, their end. And while it may be true to some degree, those who join the ranks of true believers may obtain a little temporary safety and security, as Franklin once quipped, natural law mandates they eventually rejoin the ranks of the disgruntled and disenfranchised to once again roam the decrepit streets ravaged by collective barbarism, with little choice but to tag graffiti on the decaying walls of the stores they loot. And the storm begins another cycle. Such it is right now across America. We, the benefactors of the great experiment of republicanism, face our own storm. This storm, not unlike the one that hit Europe this past week, threatens our very existence as a republic, a nation, and a people should we not take the necessary steps to prepare for it. For if we continue to listen to the words that form the empty promises elicited by both sides of our political establishments, should we continue to believe things will take care of themselves, should we continue to pray to our God for deliverance in spite of our rejection of Him, then we may find ourselves lamenting another great statement from Benjamin Franklin. You have a republic if you can keep it. This storm may be the last opportunity for us, perhaps forever. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness. All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. We've got Don Dix from Act for America doing his weekly segment with us. And how are you doing this evening, Don?
Well, I'm doing well. Just more distressing news out of Turkey with the latest Ramadan bombathon that happened over there. Now ticking up towards 60 lives lost at the Istanbul airport, Ataturk airport. It's a weekly thing now. For those of us in radio that do show prep before the show, it's almost like nowadays you can throw it all, every other day it seems like you just throw it all away because the news is shifting so rapidly that you don't have time to catch up.
Nope.
Yeah, we don't. Joe had a situation. His wife works at a naval installation in Florida there, and they had a lockdown today. They had a threat, and they had a lockdown. Oh, my. And, wow. I'm sorry?
No, I said, wow.
Yeah, and what was it, Joe? You said someplace in Denver. They had a lockdown going on, too. Yeah. So it looks like the concept, or maybe the idea of, I don't know how this is going to pan out, how many people are involved in it. Do they know, was it one bomber? Was it several? How many people were involved?
In Turkey, I thought that I heard there were reports that were three, maybe.
Three.
But they blew themselves up. So and Ramadan, that's a perfect time for that because you're an instant martyr and you go to heaven.
Yeah, you get to meet your 70 Virginians.
Yes, of course you do.
or raisins, I don't know which.
Well, I just it's like you were saying, Don. This is something that I think is worth noting here, is that I don't know. I get my head goes in 10 different directions when something like this happens. And as you said, we're sitting here. You get up in the morning and you think, okay, this is the relevant topics for the day. I'm sitting here an hour before showtime coming in, just making sure everything is okay. And boom, across the headlines, bombing over in Turkey. And I'm like, oh, my God, well, now that means everything is going to be geared towards that. I can guarantee you all the mainstream sites, outlets tonight, this is all we're going to hear about. The Benghazi report comes out today. We'll hear very little about that. The Clinton email scandal continues to escalate. No, we're not going to hear about that. All we're going to hear about is another terrorist thing, and everybody's going to recite the same thing. Why didn't we know? Who knew? Who knew what? When they knew? Why didn't we know more? Did they know more and let the people go? Now, what do we do now? And this is just going to feed the fervor that's actually going on over in Europe right now. I think this is something that is going to actually now overshadow the whole Brexit situation. Do you think so?
Well, it's definitely connected. I mean, ISIS said not long ago, a week or two ago, they released a statement saying that they had trained jihadists and had scattered them throughout Europe so as to continue this plague of terror attacks. So no, this is not going to change, and it's just it's a new name for the same threat, but this threat's been with us for centuries. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Der Spiegel ran an article not long ago. In 2005, not long ago in historical sense, but in 2005, they ran an article about a book that was written by a fellow that had spent time in prison with Al-Qaeda adherents. And he built a relationship with them because while in prison with these folks, he convinced them to release Abu Musab al-Zarqawi from solitary confinement.
Mm-hmm.
So he built this relationship, and during the time that he was in prison, they began to sort of bring him into the information fold, telling him what their long-term plans are. Well, he wrote a book based on this when he got out of prison. And the book basically details what amounts to a 7-phase plan. When I give you some of these dates, you got to bear in mind that this article was written in 2005. The book was written, essentially before then. But phase 3, starting in phase 3, they describe what they call a rising and standing up. And it should last from 2007 to 2010. And the focus will be parts of Syria. Then we move forward to phase 4, 2010 to 2013. The author writes that Al-Qaeda will aim to bring about the collapse of the hated Arabic governments. Now, a little background on that. Al-Qaeda, folks need to remember, is definitely an offshoot and connected to the Muslim Brotherhood. Right. So these organizations, because I know we're going to be talking about the Muslim Brotherhood here in a moment, but this is all relative to this. And so in 2010 to 2013, they aim to bring about the collapse of what they call the hated Arabic governments. Well, who are the hated Arabic governments? We're talking about Islamic countries that were ruled by people that these organizations deemed not Islamic enough. Governments like Mubarak's Egypt, governments like Gaddafi's Libya, because remember, Gaddafi got a dose of reality from George Bush and before that, Ronald Reagan, and they had basically turned him away from the sort of imperialistic, totalitarian Islamic pursuit. Sudan. The list is long. So essentially, basically 2010, 2013, what happened then?
Arab Spring.
That's it. The Arab Spring, when all these countries were starting to fall and things escalated in Syria.
Fresh.
The 5th phase, 2013 to 2016. Now, this is chilling, and every time I read it, the hair stands up on the back of my neck. But from his book, The 5th Phase, this will be the point at which an Islamic state, those are the words from his book, will be declared. So that's exactly in the time frame that the Islamic State rose up and was declared. The 6th phase, from 2016 onwards, will be the total confrontation. So what we're seeing in Turkey, what we've seen in the United States, what we saw in Belgium, what we've seen in Spain and England, and all of these countries that have been dealing with this, is that phase of total confrontation. So the caliphate has been declared. The Islamic army will begin to instigate the fight between the believers and the non-believers. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happening. And, this thing about, Muslim on Muslim terror attacks. Well, these people that they're attacking, a lot of the victims of ISIS in Syria and Iraq are Muslims. Remember the pilot in the cage that was burned? He was a Jordanian pilot. They're either deemed to be of the wrong sect or not Islamic enough.
Right.
So all of this, the point being, whether it's Istanbul or San Bernardino, these are all connected. They're all playing from the same playbook. And that's what makes our fight difficult, because we're not allowed to organize a response to this, because our national security apparatus is compromised.
Right. So you're saying basically, if we really are really honest about this and look at the facts and the evidence and the history, we can really sit there and say that any form of Islam outside of what is being touted within the extremist elements is, I guess the better way to put it is, ISIS then really isn't the extreme element of Islam. It's that everybody outside of that, all the moderates, the people that don't adhere to jihad and the people that are out there toting Islam as a religion of peace and all that, they're actually the extremists in the eyes of people that are out there performing this jihad. Would that be a accurate assessment?
Well, either or they're just not on board with the full plan. When you look at theocracies like Iran and Saudi Arabia, they have the same goals. It's just different teams in the same league. Be like, all the teams in our NFL, every team's goal is to make it to the Super Bowl. It's just a question of who gets to be the ultimate team that takes it to the Super Bowl. You've got this Sunni versus Shia. You've got Wahhabi versus Salafi. I mean, all of these are just different teams, or the Muslim Brotherhood, just different teams within the same league. And some of them believe that they're the ordained, team by Allah to be the one to carry the ball across the finish line. So a lot of the infighting that we see, especially over the centuries, is that struggle within Islam to be the team that carries the ball. But whether you're talking about the jihadist threat, like Dr. Sebastian Gorka likes to quantify it as the defeating jihad, it's a supremacist ideology. Well, the Muslim Brotherhood, the political arm of the Muslim Brotherhood, has the same goal. The only difference is what their tactics are. But ultimately, their strategy is to envelop the world in Islam, because they all believe that until the entire world is under the house of Islam, their end times cannot be brought about. Right. So unlike our, Christian theology, which is it's all in God's hands, and whenever Jesus, comes back to the earth and we're called up in this sort of final epoch of the fulfillment of the prophecies. It's in Islam, they have to bring about the end times.
Right.
So whether it's the Muslim Brotherhood infiltrating our government and directing the response that we have to this threat, either the jihadi threat or the cultural threat that the Muslim Brotherhood is waging on the political level, doesn't matter. Their goals are ultimately the same. And one of the big entities that stands in the way within Western civilization is the shining city on the hill. It's the United States. We're the ones that are the big, if they can topple the United States, Western civilization will crumble.
Right. Right. Well, it doesn't sound to me too much different than what we see here within our own structure when you talk about the goal is the same. We have our two establishments. We've got the leftist establishment. We've got the GOP establishment. Both of them want the same thing. Both of them at this point want big government. It's just a matter of who's going to carry the ball. And so I see the similarity, an analogy there. But the idea here, let me put it this way: you had mentioned the idea or the goal of Islam is to basically bring the entire world to its knees, either through conversion or destruction, at which time their end times begin. Whereas in the Christian doctrine, the Christian way of thinking is that the world brings itself to that place. The Bible refers to it as the fullness of the Gentiles, means that when everybody that can be saved is saved, then everything begins to change. And now, the rapture and all the stuff that we talk about as Christians occurs, and then the tribulation follows and all these other things, bringing about the final day of judgment, that kind of thing. So when I look at this and I see this whole idea of the infiltration, because that's really how collectives think. It's infiltrate. It's not necessarily overthrow. It's infiltrate and become the system. You take the system by becoming the system, that kind of thing. So I like the way you explain that. It makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know if I fed it back the right way, but I have a good understanding of what you're talking about there. We're going to continue this when we get back. We've got to go to a break right now. We have Don Dix from Act for America, and we're going to get in talking about the infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood in the Obama administration in particular, something that nobody wants to talk about. We're going to talk about it. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923 and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So, why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907, 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world. Then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
All right, we're back. Once again, just a quick reminder. Take the time to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and check out our archives, our posts by those on our panel that blog, and everything else that has to do with this show, theconservativesyndicate.net. We've got Don Dix here, Act for America, and we're talking about the infiltration, or we're going to start talking about the infiltration here in the Obama administration by members of the Muslim Brotherhood. And Don, I just had a couple of questions, real quick questions here, just in terms of demographics, just so that in my own mind I can kind of picture what's going on here. You say that it is the, how do you pronounce it, Salafi jihadist militant groups that make up most of ISIS?
Well, yeah, they're called a Salafist militant group, and they follow the fundamentalist Wahhabi doctrine, which is essentially the same as what Saudi Arabia perpetrates and grows throughout the world. 80% of all the mosques throughout the world ultimately receive some level of financial support from Saudi Arabia at some point in time. The National Association of the Islamic Trust, NATE, here in the United States, they literally own 80% of the ground under mosques. So they're a very this is the cultural jihad that Saudi Arabia is waging versus the more militant and fundamentalist. We call it militant fundamentalist jihadists. A lot of these terms are used sort of interchangeably. They don't care how the world comes to Islam, whether they convert, because from a cultural shift or from a jihadist mandate. They don't care. Doesn't matter.
So we could say then that Saudi Arabia would be the equivalent to the ISIS establishment, meaning they're the ones that pull the strings and put the money up.
Well, directly or indirectly. You notice how many terrorist attacks actually occurred in Saudi Arabia?
None.
Pretty much.
and so, see, that leads me as we evolve here into our conversation about the Obama administration. What does this say about the Bush administration, which had such close ties to Saudi Arabia?
Well, a lot of these administrations, even the Clinton administration, when you look back at some of the people that rose up inside government and that were tolerated and even promoted by the Clinton government, there's a fellow spending roughly 25 years in prison right now that was, a friend of Bill Clinton's and was actually at one point in charge of the Muslim chaplain program inside of all of the military.
Well, I get that. I would expect that from Clinton. I'm talking about the Bushes. Both of the Bushes had ties to Saudi Arabia, still have ties to Saudi Arabia. Why wasn't anything ever made of that?
Well, there's a political relationship that when you're president, you have to ultimately manage. It's complicated by the fact that, Saudi Arabia has so much damn money. I mean, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was not established until 1932. They discovered oil in 1933, and that's when everything about Saudi Arabia changed.
Ding, 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 ding. We have a winner.
And by the way, that's about the same time George Walker Bush got into the oil game.
Yeah. So, I mean, there.
I mean, I'm not trying to shift the argument here or the direction of where we're going here, but it seems awful damning to me that the Bush administration, the Bush people would have known about, and maybe we could even go back. Maybe we have to look at even Reagan and Carter and everybody before them, because obviously, as you said, once Saudi Arabia hit oil, they became an economic influence across the world, around the world. So it's like everybody just kind of looked the other way.
I don't. Honestly, I struggle with how to answer that on the part of the Bushes, because, when he delivered his famous speech, Islam is a religion of peace, that big quote, you had the several executives from CARE standing right behind him. Whether
the co-conspirators of 9/11, exactly.
And that's about the same time that, the data, the treasure trove of information from the archivist of the Muslim Brotherhood here in this country was discovered. It was a freak situation. One of the guy's wives was taking pictures of the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. An astute, a say something, say something person reported it. The sheriffs came, they questioned him, they searched his house, and lo and behold, they found a trap door in the basement, and inside they found boxes and boxes of documents of the Muslim Brotherhood that ultimately made their way into the evidence used in the 2008 conviction of 5 individuals in the Holy Land Foundation trial. So it took, pretty much 5 years for the federal government to put that case together. Mm-hmm. But it's very nepotistic, and sometimes I wonder: do these people, do the Bushes sort of tolerate them in order to get along, or do they take this seriously, or are they on the take? I mean, I can't see a red-blooded American, someone that believes in, everything that America stands for, becoming a willing accomplice to the cultural jihad of these Muslim Brotherhood front groups.
Well, from my perspective, given what we're seeing in this election cycle, the revelation and the exposure of the establishment as being people who are willing to even sacrifice this country to preserve their own power and influence and money, because that's how I see it. I mean, I see it that radically, that this election cycle has exposed the establishment on both sides to such a degree never before seen. And I can't, in my right mind now, look at somebody like the Bush family in any other than an unfavorable light. Because these people, I mean, we're talking about George Bush Sr., headed the CIA. It's not like this guy is Joe Ignorant. He knew and knows what's going on. He used the oil company fronts to conduct covert operations in some of these countries out here that we're even talking about, and to bring about regime changes and things like that. I can no longer sit here and look at this and say, this is just Obama. This is something that has been going along apparently it's been going on for quite a while. And what it is Obama's just kind of, hey, let's go for broke. Let's just, let's go take it all the way if we can. That kind of thing. I don't think any of them are not without blood in their hands. And that's what really irritates me about this whole thing. So I know that sounds a little extreme, but I think the evidence points that maybe it was economic reasons. Maybe it was the fact that Saudi has so much influence in the oil industry and everything else. Maybe it was to some degree personal gain by the Bushes because of their ties to oil. Maybe it was, hey, we don't want to upset the balance. We don't want to rock the boat and bring some problem down here on our economy. that kind of thing. But it seems like I can't believe that this all just started with Barack Obama.
Yeah, well, no, it didn't. He definitely accelerated it. But when you look at, some of this just sounds like so much conspiracy theory until you, for instance, a guy like Philip Haney steps up. Mm-hmm. And a guy like Philip Haney, who essentially was one of the founders of the Department of Homeland Security, he was there from the very beginning. So Philip Haney developed a program within the Department of Homeland Security called the National Targeting Center. And within this, the goal of this organization was to connect the dots, to essentially figure out the link between these transnational Islamists networks and the activities and travel of individuals, of mosques, of Islamic centers, of schools across the United States. So, Philip Haney essentially had, he had the keys to the kingdom. He saw where these people were coming from. In fact, if not for Philip Haney's organization and program being shut down, he very well may have, targeted, Tashfeen Malik, who was Farouk's wife, the San Bernardino bombers, because she followed the path to the letter of what he was doing. But the State Department essentially shut down Philip Haney's program. Why? Because they were concerned about the civil rights of Muslims being violated.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not worried about American citizen safety.
Yeah. We got to take a quick break here. This is our quick break segment. We'll be right back. We have Don Dix from Act for America. Don't go away.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We've got Don Dix from Act for America with us doing his weekly segment. I got to tell you, Don, you've rocked my world here. I am all of a sudden I am looking through different glasses here. All of a sudden, some things are falling in line in my mind, things that I normally would have ignored just because of my subjectivism with Barack Obama, and we're not going to have time to talk about it today, and I've got to get my thoughts, sorted out here. But I think we might be looking at something that has actually been taking place. It's a process that's been evolving over maybe the last 50, 60 years, and has been part of, or at least to some degree, been known by every administration since perhaps Eisenhower as to what's going on here in terms of the Middle East.
Well, definitely since Nixon.
Well, yeah. I mean, am I going off the wall here?
I don't know. I try to go exactly where the available material takes me, and not overthink it beyond that. Because ultimately, I mean, this is the question that so many people, especially conservatives, get caught up in: is Obama a Muslim or isn't he? The bottom line is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It really doesn't matter, because the degree to which Obama is enabling this is by far and away different than what Bush was. If you want to, the best thing I can do in Bush's defense is to say, Bush was caught up in the diplomacy of it. On the other hand, Barack Obama believes that you can almost a Neville Chamberlain kind of an approach, appeasement. He believes, and this was the whole thing about, his foreign policy. And really at the center of this is Benghazi, because at the core of Obama's foreign policy, he believed that if we just get along with them, they'll be nice to us.
Yeah.
And that was what Benghazi was all about. How come we didn't have more? Libya was in meltdown mode. Yep. And Hillary Clinton did not want to put more U.S. assets into Libya because she didn't want the death of any Americans on her watch. She wanted to be able to say, look, we resolve this through diplomacy. I mean, for Pete's sake, the Benghazi Commission report says that a contingent of Marines changed in and out of their uniforms 4 times because they didn't want to offend the government of Libya by inserting United States military in there to, save our people.
Right.
This is the problem with Hillary Clinton. She considered politics before the safety of our people.
Well, that's a problem right now, Don. That's how they're conducting this quote-unquote war on terror over in Syria. They're using politics. The generals aren't making decisions. It's coming right out of the West Wing of the White House right now.
Yeah. Well, my point is this, and I understand where you're coming from, Don, and I definitely agree with you 100%. And the reason I would agree with you that the way that you're stating this is because of the fact that up to Barack Obama, the tolerance for Saudi Arabia and the culture and everything tied to their religious beliefs and everything may have been placed at bay because of the economic reasons. It's capitalism versus colonialism. And with Barack Obama, we have a guy that comes into office, it's ideologically driven, not economically. And so the entire shift comes in the thinking and the handling of things like this, where, you do have somebody who is, I'm going to say, sympathetic to the Muslim theocracy and the theology of Islam, although probably not as, not a purist, but it's a good means to an end.
Well, it's politically correct, John. It's just like Don was telling us when Mr. Haney's department was basically gutted. They told him to stop stop connecting the dots for crying out loud.
Yeah,
and as Don said, they probably had these people in their sights, and he was on top of them. But
you're probably right. I'm just. There's an initial processing going on in my mind right now, and you guys just have to be subjected to it.
No problem. But we all go through that. I would highly recommend Philip Haney's book to everybody. See Something, Say Nothing. That's definitely a book that should be in everybody's library because it shows how, particularly this administration, places this pall of political correctness over our national security infrastructure. Now, is it dictated by the Muslim Brotherhood? Are they whispering into the ears of our, the administration, who ultimately then controls how, our national security apparatus operates? it doesn't matter. The point is that, we do not have a coherent plan to be dealing with what I started out with, which was this 7-phase plan. They have a plan, we don't. The Barack Obama's administration feels like if we can just get along with them, they'll be nice to us.
If we just give them a job, they'd be okay.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole reason what was the reason for the European Union? Because they felt that if they all had a shared interest in the outcome, then no power would rise up and do what Hitler did anymore, because they're all in it together.
Right.
And that's the same logic behind the UN. Let's all come together. But no, what's happening is they're using all of these as tools. They use the UN as a tool to advance their ideology and their agenda.
Yeah, I get it. This is making so much sense to me right now. And it all hit me at one time. I was like, the heavens just opened up, and it just kind of blew me away a little bit. And in line with that, you were talking about the narrative and the way it's being written coming out of the White House. And that seems to be what this Philip Haney is alluding to. And Richard Higgins, that were on Hannity's show, I guess, sometime yesterday, or maybe the day before, recently. And what they're talking about is that this influence of the Muslim Brotherhood that has infiltrated the Obama administration through cabinet positions and positions within the administration itself is that they are intentionally using or scrubbing the language that would allow Barack Obama. That's a big thing. I mean, why won't you call it Islamic radicalism? It's because he's being directed by advisors not to do that. What, for the very purpose that you're speaking of right now, to make it look like, we'll just, if they like us, if we won't insult them and they'll like us?
Well, it's hard to say what Barack Obama's ultimate motivation is, but the way I look at it and the way it makes sense to me is that you've got a guy in Barack Obama who, his father was a Muslim. You got a guy in Barack Obama whose stepfather was a Muslim. You got a guy in Barack Obama whose formative years were spent in a Muslim country going to what we might want to just call a madrasa, where Islam is taught.
Yeah.
So the wiring in his head says, Islam is, they're here. We got to get along with them. Can't we all just be one big happy family? And the answer is, of course, no, we can't. And that's, where his motivations ultimately. I don't think anybody's whispering in Obama's ears. I think what is happening is we're witnessing what happens when you grow up in that culture. I mean, look at you and I. We grew up around Easter and Christmas, and all of a sudden, if somebody comes to you and says Easter and Christmas are false and we're no longer going to honor them, your visceral response is, well, no, that's just a part of what is.
Right.
So I think a lot of it is the same with him.
All right, I'm going to take the rest of this week and digest all this stuff that I just got today. And we're going to renew this conversation next week. Right now we're out of time. I wanted to give you a moment to promote your show and your organization.
Sure. Well, thanks. As always, John, thanks for having me on. One quick little last period on that. Obama's case is complicated by, 20 years in Reverend Wright's church, black liberation theology, being under the tutelage of a communist in Frank Marshall Wright. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff working on him. My biggest message to folks would be to go to the actforamerica.org website and just get involved in that in your local community and start just paying attention to this stuff. Get Dr. Sebastian Gorka's book, Defeating Jihad, The Winnable War. All of these are resources to really help. What keeps happening to folks is this dot connecting process, because we all go through these what I call aha moments, and keep reading and studying this stuff because it's a very deep rabbit hole. John, thanks for having me on.
All right, my friend. I appreciate you coming on, because I know sometimes your schedule is really erratic, so I really appreciate you taking time and making time. We're done for today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, And Joe and I have some things that we're going to spend some time on tomorrow. We don't have any contributors scheduled tomorrow, so we'll be able to really dig in and do some of the things that we've been wanting to do. In the meantime, remember to visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. And as always, we thank you for your loyalty and listening to the show and making this show what it is. And so we thank you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.